Okay, thank you all for participating in the class activity. I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit now about our interview and what that consisted of, as well as how it gave us some insight into women as an oppressed group. We interviewed a woman named Anita Moore. She happens to also be my grandmother, but we thought that she would be a great subject because while she is older now, she's had a lot of life experiences that would show us the progression of women, as well as some of the issues that women encounter. At a young age, Anita was the one of 5 children. She had 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and she was able to receive a high school degree. But unlike her 2 brothers and 1 sister, she was never made to feel like college was really for her. So she joined the workforce right away. Through her different jobs, she was a soda jerk. She worked in a department store, as well as co-owned a restaurant with her husband. When she retired, she had been working at a packaging and distribution plant for about 27 years, and the entire time she worked there, she was the only female in that environment. But as a young child, going back to her childhood a little bit, as a child, Anita was always taken care of, but was always made to feel that she should do more and that she should be a part of the family structure. She noted a few times about how her brothers, their chores always seemed to be a little bit different than hers, and hers was very much the cleaning, the sewing, the cooking kind of component. So it was inbred into her very young that the woman's place is to care for the family and to be the provider of the household, not monetarily, but as far as upkeep and such. When we move later on into Anita's life, we see her as a mother. She had 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls, and definitely took on. While she did work, she took on the component of cleaning and cooking and sewing and so on and so forth of all of her children, and taught her daughters how to keep a house and how to cook and how to clean. And she taught them how to sew their own clothes because after her husband passed away, there was not enough money for them to be able to purchase clothes. So really instilling even in her children those things that she had learned very young as far as being the person that was responsible for the house. Her and her husband, they did both work, but he was the sole provider. So when he passed away, she was left to care for. At that time, there was 3 children left in the house and provide for them financially, spiritually, personally, everything. It fell on her. And she talked about the struggles at that point that she faced as far as her children not having their father in their life and that disciplinary actions that she now had to take, so that she took on a very different relationship than she'd ever taken on with them before. She talked at that point about, having to now be that person that before, if there was a concern or the problem or the child wanted to talk about something, they could go to their mother because their father was so gruff and they could be in trouble for something. Well, now she was both. So it really changed that dynamic of the relationship with her children. When we talked about the different experiences that she had, being the breadwinner for the family as well as the person that was completely responsible, some of the struggles that she talked about was, getting ends to meet, and she owned the fact that she may have wanted to buy her children cars when they graduated high school and so on and so forth, but that financially was not possible now being a single parent. I asked her if she'd ever sought out any of the services that the community provided, anything like food stamps or welfare or anything like that, and she said, I never felt that I was needy enough for that type of assistance. And it really makes you wonder how many people that may need those services aren't doing it because they don't feel that they need it enough. I believe that anytime someone is in a situation where they're not able to provide to the level that they need to, those are the people that we want to reach out to, and those are the people that we want to serve. Anita talked more on the fact that she always encouraged her children to do what they wanted to do and pursue the dreams that they wanted to pursue, but being very mindful and being very understanding of the fact that there are limitations. She experienced those limitations growing up, such as not going to school and being a woman in the workforce, so on and so forth. The final job that she had prior to retiring, she was the only female in a distribution plant, and those people that she worked with talked a lot about, obviously it's all men, so the conversation and those relationships are going to be very different. And she never really felt like they were being sexist towards her, but there was always that underlying notation of sexism when it came to her. When you're looking at an entire organization at a company and there's only one woman, how does that role play into it? Other pressures that she felt from the community included people wondering why she had so many kids. You have 5 children, and obviously you're not making a lot of money. So there was a lot of judgment placed upon her as far as her ability to provide for her children, as well as why, quote unquote, couldn't she control herself. Obviously all the children were had in wedlock. That was not necessarily the issue, but just that view and that perception that the community has of a single woman, whether it was that she was never married, divorced, widowed, etc. Growing up later on in life, all of her children left, but she was again alone, because while she raised all of her children, she had people there, but she had no extended family, as they were all in New York, and now she lived in Florida. So once her children all left, she was kind of left alone, and she there was those components of being lonely. So she befriended another widower that was in the neighborhood, and they kind of, to save money as well as to have a sense of companionship, they would make each other dinner and, go back and forth. And so she was able to find solidarity in another strong woman that had gone through similar life experiences. And I think that was one of those relationships that truly helped her combat the different issues that arose in her environment and in her community, as far as judgment and oppressive behavior and types of oppression in general. Also, through the interview, we were able to see, how she struggled as a mother and as a wife and as an employee, all being centered around her main goal of providing for her family, but being a woman that looks very different than it would have looked for a male counterpart. So this interview as a whole really helped us see the factor 1 and factor 2, and how those relationships that she had with people, with her community, with her children, how they were very much a part of the oppressive behavior that women oftentimes see. This helped us see a few programs and some initiatives that we could really look at starting, because if she was not aware of, she talked a lot about not being aware of programs or not feeling like she would qualify as needy enough for these programs. It really helps us see how can we go out into the community and make sure other women don't feel this way, or potentially provide programs that maybe traditionally we don't think of, especially as far as the disciplinarian role looks. She was able to seek a family counselor when she was not able to really communicate with her children why their disciplinary relationship changed. So she sought that outside help. But how can we get more people that outside help, and how could we have helped her in other facets of the breakdown in relationship that she had with her children, as well as with co-workers, colleagues, so on and so forth. So this interview in general was very helpful in seeing how she was a very, very strong woman, but even oppression can happen in the most random of places, at the most random of times, in situations that typically you would be proud of this woman and excited for this woman that she's able to accomplish so much, but you only see that surface level. So overall, this interview was very helpful to us in being able to understand our project a little bit better, as well as to learn a lot about this very strong woman.